I think I'm finally learning to be myself. And honestly, that sounds weird to say at my big age, at 36. But I think so much of my life was, spent just trying to be who I thought I needed to be. And now that I'm healing, now that I'm in this phase in my life where I no longer identify with that version of me, I'm realizing that I don't even fully know who I am without all of that. And what's funny is I'm actually excited and very nervous at the same time. We all create versions of ourselves, not because we're fake, not because we're trying to be someone else. Sometimes we are, but most times we're not. But I think it's because most of the time we're adapting to our environment. I think I became who I needed to be for very different reasons. I touched on this in my last video about being a very sensitive, empathetic person. Ever since I was little, I could literally feel the shift in energy, the shift in, people's emotions around me. Yeah, I became who I needed for different seasons of my life. Some versions of me were protective. Some versions of me were trying to keep the peace. Most versions of me were trying to keep the peace. And some versions of me were trying to be loved. Just literally just trying to get through the day. And I feel like if you're coming across this video, you're in this stage of your life too, where you're growing out of survival mode and you don't really know who you are without all of that yet, Lately, it feels like I'm slowly peeling all these layers away. It's literally a shedding. I've talked about this in my other videos. It's literally a shedding. Like accumulating all that weight over the years. I was over 400 pounds. I was a big girl for most of my life, like truly. And I feel like putting on that weight was me using that weight to separate myself from the world as a barrier, from all the emotions, like a literal physical barrier to keep me separate from the world because I was always feeling. That was the only way for myself that I could really come home to me is through food, using food as comfort and filling that space within myself that felt empty. And all of these different versions of me that I held on to were for safety. That's a lot of what I'm learning lately is all these different versions of me where I was beautiful at every stage of my life. I look back at every different version of Brittany and I'm just like, wow, this is who I had to be in order to survive. What was happening, throughout my life. Coming into, content creation and learning how to be me while also honoring the fact that I am not just here for myself. I'm here for a purpose. I'm here to align with those who align with me. Like I said in my last video, 333. Oh my gosh, 333. Every time I'm talking about community, aligning with the right people, I always see threes. And I love that. I love it. It's like the universe is conspiring and bringing it all together. I love seeing the synchronicities. It makes me feel like I'm on the right path. I feel like I avoided this for a long time. Maybe you have too. Avoiding healing, avoiding facing the parts of yourself that you created in order to feel safe. Because it's like, if I stop being who I thought I needed to be, then who am I now? Who are you if you're no longer grinding and surviving and producing and moving forward? If you're not continuing to move forward, it's like, who are you without all these survival habits, things that kept you safe, things that made you feel comfortable? And I feel like I was going through this, like I was documenting it during my last videos about being the uncomfortable phase, the in-between phase. All these old identities, the old roles, the old coping mechanisms, the old expectations. Like I am learning a lot about, again, I'm just learning a lot about myself and learning where my placements are. Yesterday I was thinking about Virgo and I was realizing as I was looking at my chart that my descendant isn't Virgo. And so is my vertex. And so Virgo is, the house of service, the house of going inward, looking within. It's the Hermit card, right? Going inward, looking within, and moving forward. And that's why it's scary, right? That's why it's scary to really face yourself, to really face those fears, to really see those illusions that you've allowed yourself to continue on, those old identities, any projections that those around you as you've grown up, put onto you. Those are not your, those are not your fears. Those are the people who you surrounded yourself with. And when you were, maybe not when you surround yourself with. As a child, you really don't have a lot of control over your environment. But now as adults, we have the responsibility. At least I feel like we have the responsibility to heal those things in ourselves and really move forward in alignment with what we truly want in our lives. And again, that is scary because it's like, okay, so who am I? What do I want? And going through this process of rediscovering, of understanding who you are now and learning something new. Like, right, for me, this something new is not necessarily new, but it's content creation. It's putting myself out there. It's allowing myself the space to express. It's allowing myself expression, just expression. So much of my life has been spent suppressing my outer expression, using my voice, and I'm letting that go. And I'm allowing myself to speak. Coming across this video too, I feel like you're also in your era of expression. You're allowing yourself expression, to give your voice expression, to allow yourself to just speak, And that also ties into my singing. As a child, I loved to sing. I still love to sing, but I was bullied for it. So of course I internalized a lot of that bullying, surrounding my voice. And most of my fears and my, my shadow self surrounds my voice. Suppressing it, telling, being told to be quiet, telling me that, my singing voice is not good enough. Like I said, I was bullied a lot growing up. And so that made me suppress my voice, not because somebody told me to, but because it's a natural reaction, to being rejected, is that you just stop, right? And so I stopped, speaking up. I stopped singing, in front of people. It wasn't until I think it was my high school, where I met my best friends, and they allowed me to start expressing, to start singing and speaking my truth. And I've learned I learn a lot lately that I need communication in order to express. My whole chart is about expression, feelings, expressing feelings, and giving words to the expressions, to the feelings. And that's why I'm a yapper. When I know you, when you know me, I'm a yapper. I'm a chit chatter. Okay, I need to speak what I'm feeling in order to process it out loud. I need to speak it, hear it, and then I can process it and give the wisdom, I guess. Letting them go, letting all these old identities go, all these old expectations, all these limiting beliefs. Again, you're just left with who are you now, right? Letting all of that go, even though it no longer serves you, it also feels like you're grieving a part of yourself because you built so much of you to survive the world. And it really does feel like you're losing parts of yourself, even though it's healthy, even though you need to. It's okay to grieve it and let it go. Huge realization in this is, maybe coming home to yourself isn't about becoming someone new. Maybe it's about remembering who you were before life just convinced you to be someone else, or convinced you that you needed to be someone else, or that you felt like you needed to be someone else. And you don't. The world just needs you to be you. And I'm so proud of you for being here. Truly. So if you're a season where life feels unfamiliar, where things feel unfamiliar, maybe you're not lost, maybe you're just rediscovering. You're meeting yourself again. And honestly, that's totally where I am right now. I'm right here with you, friends. We are rediscovering, we are remembering who we are. And so happy you're here. Thank you so much for being here. If you made it this far in the video, I would love for you to subscribe. Leave a comment if this resonated. Hit a like button. Share this with somebody who you think might need to hear this message. But I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so much for being here. Please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much. I will see you guys in the next one, friends. You take care. Bye.